Hey, let's talk about a straight line. So, in case of a straight line, we have to find out point. And to measure a point, there are two ways to measure it, the position of a point. And those point measurement procedure is Cartesian coordinate and polar coordinate. Those are two measurement methods by which we can measure the position of a point, and that point may help us to calculate the straight line. So, to calculate the straight line or measurement of a straight line, it's important to find out the position of a point. And the measurement procedure is Cartesian coordinate and polar coordinate. So, in case of Cartesian coordinate, we have to find out a point. So, let's think a point is placed on a plane, and that's plane simply a thing that can draw anything. It's a two-dimensional presentation, and René Descartes, a mathematician, find out a procedure or invented a procedure to find out the position of that point, and in that case he thought the plane about a two straight line like that. Those are crossover on a point. That point is O. In that case, he named a axis that's go through the horizontal line, and that's name is abscissa. Abscissa. And in that case, another line that passes vertically, and that's name is ordinate. Ordinate. And in that case, both the line creates a plane, and that plane is termed as Cartesian plane. And in that plane, we can measure the position of a point. That point is P. So, if we want to calculate the position of that P, then we have to calculate the distance from the x-axis. From the x-axis, the horizontal axis is named as x-axis or abscissa. Abscissa. It's named as x-axis. And we think that another axis ordinate is as y-axis. In that case, the position of P is away from y-axis and the distance value is that. So, in that case, we can measure the same distance for P as from O to M. So, if the distance from O to M, and we put here another notation N, then those are equal. OM is equal same as NP. So, in that case, if we find the distance of M from O is x, then the distance from N to P also be x. So, x is a measurement from point O to P. In another case, if we want to calculate the distance from M to P, in that case the distance is equal to O to N. So, we can write that ON is equal MP. So, in that case, if we think that distance O to N be y, then the distance M to P will be the y. So, the abscissa value of point P is x, and the ordinate value of point P will be y. So, the position of point P will be x, y, and that's the coordinate value. That's the Cartesian coordinate value of the point P. So, this is a way to measure the position of point P on a two-dimensional space. So if we want to calculate the polar coordinate of a point P, in that case we can calculate the position of P by another method, and that method is known as polar coordinate. In that case, let's think about a point as here on that position P. So if we want to calculate the position of P, then let's think about a straight line, and the straight line started from that position O. So in that case, we may shorten that line. So from that position P, the straight line started from that position P, and let's go on. So we can name that starting point of that straight line as a polar. So that's the position, starting position of that straight line, and the line is named as initial line. Initial line. So we can measure the position of point P from that with respect to that straight line that started from point O, and in that case we can draw a line from point O to the point P. So in that case, if we want to measure the position of the point P, then there will be a length between the point O to P, and think about it, the point distance is R from point O. So in that case, the length of that length of that point P from point O will be a value, and that's a value R, simply R, and it creates another angle with that initial line, and then line will be the angle between that line will be the theta, and in that case we may calculate the position of that point P by simply writing R comma theta, and that will be the polar coordinate of that position P, of that point P. So we have two options to calculate the position of point P by simply a method, Cartesian plane or Cartesian coordinate method, or we can just calculate the position of that point by method, polar coordinate method. So those are two measurement way of finding the position of any point. So thank you. We will calculate another thing in our next video.